This is day 733 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. This week's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored for a schus for Refuah Shlema and Brius HaNefesh V'Aguf for Yonasan Ezra and Chana Feigl. You want to sponsor a coming shir or more of Daf Yomi, of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, this can be directly be greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Simon Tov Nun Aleph, not a shock, Lamed Hey to Mem Beis. Safe, you have to be very careful. When I close to clean me, the chametz which stick to it, and the back, and which adhere and cling. The nikve ariga in holes of the weave, anapa of arigas and apa, and the holes of the weave of the sieve, over eight shaba, and the wood which I guess holds it, which holds the weave in place. The shav should also remind me of fei. You have to scrub it in water very well. For the choshar kli alisha, and that's true about any other tool which you use for kneading dough. Shashiv shubam ikar gadol. Scrubbing is a big principle. If water gets on the sieve, even in a small part of it, there's no way you can use it on Pesach. I guess because they started fermenting the flour. I know they kept the sieves so dry, but evidently they did. Okay. The Mishnah Berurah says that if they did sift flour with a sieve which had water on it after last Pesach, it's mutter b'diavad because it's chametz nukshe. It's no longer edible. It's arrested. It's currently part. It's not going to become full chametz, and it's batal b'shishin. Okay. So, but there is a cool according to Mishnah Berurah. Later to come up Pesach, but the seems to say that no, you should not sieve flour on the sieve. There is no new sieve around. Better not to sift. And the custom is not to use a sieve even by contrary. You should not deviate from that custom. If you can't find a new sieve, it's best not to sift the flour. And some achronim say that it's not just a sieve on which water, you can come to water like the Arukh HaShulchan scenario, but even any generic old sieve you shouldn't use because who knows what happened to it along the way. Going further, anything similar, rib eisen. This is like something which you, a grater that you, which you sometimes use to grate bread. Or you use it to grate tamcha, which is grain, which is horseradish, which is cut with a chametz stick and knife, and perhaps has a mashal chametz on it. If you grate it with it on Pesach, we answer it. Achim grow be'er Pesach, but an Pesach is mutter the bottom of Shishin because it's negated in 60. Mr. Berurah and Sharatzin says when they use the Pesach, there are distinctions. If they use only matzah and Pesach, even if a crumb of chametz got mixed in, it's bottom of Shishin, you're allowed to eat it until nightfall. Once nightfall comes, that crumb is closed in manir, wakes up again and asks b'mashu. All this is when you grate on it also bread, chametz. But if you know that you never used it for any chametz, only chrein, which you might have cut with a knife of chametz, so then there's no chashash now of chametz be'ein, only absorption of chametz. On that, when absorb chametz, lo minam we don't say wakes up and asks on Pesach. If they grate on a chrein or a Pesach, which is a double charif, then you need shishim corresponding to the entire grater, because it all became chametz by the belia that it was bolea from the crane, which they grated on it, and cut. And that grain, of course, is cut with a chametz stick or knife, as we said. If not, then it's all usher. Presumably, I'm basically doing the grain for Pesach. I'm sure you're doing there. Okay, what your havamina was. Okay, back to the Arukh HaShulchan. Yearly, the berib eisen shlono to our grader says ingorin la rak tamcha. It's only used for grain. The gorin at tamcha nakim kol davar, and the grain is completely clean. Shulchan was sakin nakim. We cut it with a clean knife. Nowadays, people have vegetable knives. And basically, that's what you have to here. On Pesach, you commit this. Shigaru tamcha shel Pesach al rib eisen shel chametz. Wow. So he says now, according to current custom, it should be mutter. Lamed vav. V'da, you should know the mashika. The savni mutav shlo yikar kemach milah keren apishal chametz. It's best not to sift the flour and sift it on a sieve, which is chametz. Yesh mishlok was those arguments. The kemach Pesach shlok do asur gam di'evan. If you didn't sift Pesach flour, it's osim di'evan. B'tam shcham pamim motz chitim shluchim. So the kemach says sometimes they found broken kernels of wheat inside the flour. Chok Yaakov. This is astonishing. The Mambakach. So what? There's no concern with this. Anyway, so if the dough didn't become chametz, koshke nachita, certainly the wheat did not become chametz. His only concern is when the wheat came from water. Chemical comes from the flour, which can again not come in contact with water. Shita the lav klumu, it's obviously nothing. And then here's the clue the Mishnah Berurah gave us before. Here it is in Arukh HaShulchan. If you violated and you use the sieve even on Pesach, what's to be the Evid? So if you have it, unless there was water on it. And before Pesach, the mutter be the Evid, it's part of his batel. And before Pesach, even if there was water on it, it's mutter be the Evid because already was anything a chametz stick, potential chametz stick was batel. Mishnah Berurah says if you found kernels of grain in the flour. If there are kernels of grain in the flour, if you find the Pesach, such as in the matzah balls, they ask it. But it's possible to rely even the chatchila to be meko by rubbing it well, and then kashering it. So now Mishnah Berurah goes even further. It seems to say that that a sieve you can actually use a chametz sieve by cleaning it well and kashering, which Arukh HaShulchan said we don't do. But then you have to. Be careful. Only your matzahs. I'm sorry. But if you can't clean. Okay, if you can't clean the flour, the sieve, and you don't have another sieve, so then you should not eat the brooks, because it's possible that it mixed in with the flour. There's some kernels of grain, which when you bake them, are going to become chametz quick. When they come to water, they're going to come to water, become chametz, I guess, quicker than the flour, and therefore we're concerned that you might eat chametz that way. I'm not sure why they should become. If you were showing me the flour, I'm not sure why the kernels of grain bother you, but okay, that's what Mishnah Berurah says. Lamed Zayin, Chayin Salim, also baskets. Shemishtamshim b'hem chametz, which you for chametz dina kanaf, it's like a sieve. Avasakim shenim, but old sacks. We are not to use them, and the kibbutz by laundering them. So you have to undo all the seams, and then kibbutz before you do the laundering. They'll say, I feel even if you undo the seams, the laundry doesn't work. The chametz need bakbo, the chametz adheres to it. If you have shesh it's not possible, there won't remain a mashu of chametz in it. But Truma Sadesh because I'm a full rich lakel. Truma Sadesh writes exclusively to be clean. Aktor Shigro Heitei Makomas Haveshin Shabasakim. She have to clean well the dry places in the sacks, Goshkin Didan, certainly for Ofin Al Kokurim Pesach, we don't bake on Pesach, basically, at least not from raw flour. The aim is that Shum Chashash is no concern before Pesach. Kibbutz Tzorch keep us going, but it's got to be a complete laundering. The Mishnah explains with hot water, ashes, which was their detergent, and beating, which is like our laundry machines do. I forget what the word is. There's a word for it. They go around and around. Whatever that is. Okay. It shouldn't just be rinsing, but everything was yeah, but even just rinse them, it's okay. It's the same because the Isser is cold. The mats upon which you make the matzos, you can't use them a second time. They are because of the dough which adheres to them. Obviously, there we have disposal, which makes things much easier. Mr. Burrow says that if you want to use the same sheets over again, need absolute laundering, and it's not just good enough to rinse them, because the dough adheres to them. And certainly it doesn't work to just turn it over and use the other side, because the chametz bubbles up and comes from side to side. And also the seams in the middle of the mat, you have to undo them. And if you made matzahs on the sheet without washing it at all, if it's within Pesach, even b'diavad it's also. But if you turned over the sheet or laundered it, even if you didn't undo the seams as you should have done, then you have to machar b'diavad. Okay, Arukh HaShulchan says, we don't make matzahs on mats. Some people do it on paper. Don't use one paper per matzah or one matzah per paper because the dough is very adherent. It's best to prepare the dough on a wooden table which is smooth, that nothing clings to it. If you need back and you grab a cup and something does cling to it, you can wipe it away easily. The kosh can certainly if you do the preparation of the dough on metal, it's even better. Blech. Some use a piece of metal which we call a blech. Probably looks like our blech. It's good and straight. But it should be nailed onto the table. Okay, because if not, it's going to vibrate here and there. And that's not good for setting the matzah. Some people do this. In fact, they use a piece of metal and connect to the table. The Tov and Bracha, may they be blessed. Because of Rabbeinu Rambam, see if you test la kisha rechaim lo mani hagola. The pocket, which is the bag at the end of a meal, you can't kasher it. Ayin sham. The question is what exactly this is. Now it's not a regular bag. This must be a bag made of metal. Menukav, which is has holes in it. It's going shetka, which is called the shetka through which the flour falls down. A kisha meshi, so that's the first basket, and a kisha meshi, the silken basket, which I guess catches flour from the shetka. Nogim masir, the custom is to move it lachtoch tfiros and cut the seams also, and you launder it and you clean it and re-sew it. Other things which are in the mill, a table, boxes, etc. Clean up very well. The first grinding of the flour, menicham, alar Pesach. They don't use on Pesach. I'm not sure why they leave after Pesach. I guess since it went through the system first. Anyway, now that they're steam-powered mills, especially careful. There's a lot of heat from the from the steam. It's sort of and you have to be careful the steam doesn't reach the matzah flour. We don't have this in our place. Many bucket mention was saying I don't know how they work. One of the Goyim who it was for a steam engine, the Korban Sano writes, "Shepragin agula sira kisa elyon." I don't think it was. The Korban Sano was late enough that there was steam milling. It says you take off the upper cover. They show the kisa is rabazeh because by the being covered, there's a lot of moisture by the chimus and that can bring to chametz. Ayin sham. Lama test. Chasser Rabbi says seafood test. Rachas it's like having a pizza oven. The wooden shovel used to take put the matzah in and out of the oven. A rachas going palo shovel olafta. Which you put the loaves, put them in the oven. Some say you can't use the ones for which were chametz. You need to buy a new one. You should send me good tashmish they were because even though the wood is called that they use by the fire, but they need have limun. So it's irshab limun. And since wood you can't do limun because it's just going to burn up. And in teres bagol you can't do agol either. If you have a designated shovel for the matzah, which you set aside for next year, no problem. Like you said, just clean it out well, and to see if it has the holes which are appropriate. Yesh no again and to see if it's and check that it was appropriately clean. Yesh no some people have a custom that the following year they do hagol on it. Yesh no you should not allow them to do that. They say because if they do hagol, the non is concerned with cleaning it out, which is more important. Furthermore, the royal marsh who came also is a scientific thing that people are going to say, oh, you're allowed to do hagol on a chametz shovel, and they'll do that as well. Any vessel Pesach which you keep for next Pesach does not need anything the following Pesach. Man, those who say no, some people disagree and they say the following year requires hagola. Shani bak tzas chametz. Chametz adhere to it. I'm not sure when the chametz adhere. The also near there is showing out. It seems more the first opinion shani tzarich as Chok Yaakov is supposed to make Avraham. The rachas chametz lamani if you klipa im hagola. If it's the chametz shovel doesn't even help to peel up off a layer and then kasher it. Masesh inuzu matzah brachas shel chametz. There was a mice where they put matzah into the oven with the chametz shovel. Before they klipa and they were matzah by peeling. Even when if they took it out on the rachas when it's hot. I'm not sure exactly they do klipa on the matzah. That's what it says here. This is from the Maharam Wittenberg. The afilu chametz mamish, because even the actual chametz shenaga, which touched b'matzah cham b'cham, and they're both hot. Time tilas makom, it's enough to take off the place where it touched. Kosh came b'balua, certainly if it's balua, it's absorbed in the stick and it's not directly touching the matzah. Shane ben Yom has been used in 24 hours. Our matzahs are very thin; you can't actually peel them. This is where it writes that only if they wash the shovel and there's no chametz on it, which is evident, which is on the surface, only absorbed in it, then it only asks kedei klipa, whether you use it before with oil or without oil. Because Isra Balua, that an Isra which is absorbed in the vessel, can't ask more than Kedei Klipa. But if it wasn't clean, it had some residue chametz on it, which is visible. It answers the bottom of the matzah up until Kedei Natila, like a finger breadth. If you bake through this with the shovel chametz cakes with oil, before Pesach, and you use it for matzah, the matzah comes completely awesome, because through the oil, the chametz will get absorbed in the entire matzah. This is only you bake during Pesach, but before Pesach, until nightfall, the little bit which might be on the shovel is batal b'shishim. He says that, but that's perhaps in terms of the fat, which is the oils, which are visible. Then the matzah, it does become completely usher because whatever is visible is batal b'shishim. But that which is absorbed in the shovel, as is kedei klipa, even before Pesach, perhaps. Okay, it's a sarch here. It says back to Rosh Hashanah. Nearly mafu ba matzah achas or shnei matzos lo yechlu l'sam Pesach. They use that the chametz stick shovel. They shouldn't eat those matzah on Pesach for one or two matzahs. Mafu ba matzos harbei, but if they bake many matzahs with it, returning call matzahs. All matzahs with the kimchi avesha, since the shovel is dry, the ain't bas yoma has either within past 24 hours. Kind of Pesach ain't shum tam osram. And before Pesach, there's no reason to aser, because you know baking before Pesach, because it would be batel, whatever amount is balua. V'oser ma'azmi, for instance, matzah ma'abi mamonim sheisro b'china. He is causing loss for Jewish money for naught. Father says, especially about shirak rodim and tanur barachas. So it's where we only remove from the oven with the shovel. When we put things in the oven, the matzah oven, those are makos. They put it fold it over a stick and put it in the oven and roll it off the stick. Our idea karega, and the removing from the oven is just a moment. Mutter people. It's mutter without any doubt. Shita is obviously for the matzah. If you happen to remove with the shovel a matzah which is doubled over or is bloated, which we have a chumrah not to eat, but the shovel does become usher on account of that chumrah. It says that you should answer that shovel l'chatchila, but the Eved doesn't answer. Chok Yaakov writes, if you can't find another shovel so easily, then you're allowed to use the shovel which handled the doubled over matzah, or the bloated matzah l'chatchila. Okay, the brackets here. I'm going to have Ram Sham, the im radu ba matzah chamutza. If they use the shovel to remove matzah which became chametz mamish, also those both you can't use anymore. Im radu asurim. If they used it, the matzahs are usur. But if they got mixed up with the other ones, the previous ones, these batlu, they are batel. And sham chabetche batel yavish, because one is batel and two in when it's dry mixture. And even here, those who ask simin tefno and zayin permit this here. Iser balua umaat. That's very little and absorb prohibited substance. Whatever the Rabbi says, Magen Avraham did not have to ask a question because I tell you, Rabbi, I don't know what we're talking about specifically. Okay, the Sharatzian says, the Magen Avraham says that the first matzah that they used after the matzah that they took out after the matzah which had become chametz, if there's any fattiness, the entire matzah is also. If not, it's only also kedei netila. And the other matzahs that they take after first matzah, they're only also kedei klipa, because the whatever was visible on the shovel, and which came from the matzah which became chametz, came off in the first matzah. Therefore, there's only now a prama blia, and that only also kedei klipa. Har Shalom is not clear about this far of being of cleaning. So that works, I guess. But it says if the matzahs got mixed up during Pesach, even though it's a majority mutter matzah is also, because in Pesach itself we don't say what bittul, even yavish, and even if it's mixed up at Erev Pesach, nevertheless it's chosem meneir on Pesach. It's also eaten on Pesach. There's those say however that since it only became also because of balua, it's not chosem meneir Pesach, not machmir to that extent. Tables and boxes in which you keep chametz, and benches, which you put chametz pots. the table in the kitchen where you put the hot pots. Medina enter go going to level does not require gola. Check them. I'm seconds been a chametz. So Malcolm Shomer love up there. Been a boli akla because the pot standing between the chametz in it and the place where it's standing and does no absorption. But they are concerned. Shem nishbacham malcolm marshal chametz. Maybe some soup of chametz spilled there. Therefore, custom is to pouring them hot water from a kli rishon. Sham nagu gam lavir even melubenes, and now they also use the hot stone. Shikorin keser stein. It's not necessary to use the hot stone. The Mishabura says chatchila you should use the hot stone and pour hot water and roll the hot stone to another place and pour in more water in order that you should get boiling water in all of it. And this is all, however, this is even good if the boiling water comes from a kli because they are going to get hot again by the stone heating up the counter. And it's like kli rishon. The Yavi says mutter by iri levad, so that what Arukh HaShulchan says mutter chatchila that you don't eat the stone, or Mr. Burr says only with the Yavi. In the brackets, Arukh HaShulchan says you don't have to put boards on the tables, as many people do. Real says that to put rags on them after the gola on the tables. Shemesh has chametz bein because maybe some chametz which is visible. Kamosh kosa among everyone. So you can lamaches ayin sham. V'achshav menakim megorim v'chotzim bein toes. And now we clean so thoroughly that we no need to do this. Shmuel writes the name Eliyahu Rabbah that in the boxes and the closets, it's appropriate to put on them a cloth or something else which divides between the food and the closet. It's not possible, almost impossible to cleanse them. That shouldn't mean any chametz adhering to them. But a shulchan, it's pashut that you don't do machmir. Membes kol kem afilu shulcheres, any vessel, even a pottery. The shtam chametz b'tzoinen, which use chametz cold, with the shtam shem matzah b'cham, you use matzah even hot. Therefore, if you have boxes and closets which you put chametz bread, use matzah there, even hot matzah, without any kashmir. Obviously, you have to cook, rinse it out with cold water, the nakos, and clean the garer and scrape, and get into the nooks and crannies. The violation pure chametz because it's definitely chametz crumbs there. If you clean it properly, mutter l'aniach sham afilu chamin, then you can put even hot Pesach stuff. Kutzi beisor, except for the beisor, v'ua klisha, osim bo, or chametz isa, which is the vessel which they make sourdough in order to ferment dough. Beis charosis, and also a place to keep charosis. V'ayishon osim sham, v'chavir v'mima chametz. It's not charos for a Pesach, this is where you put sharp stuff, the chametz. Shabbos lo yishtamish b'hem chametz el b'tzoyin. In both these cases, even though you didn't use chametz, with heat, only cold in these places. Also, you can't use matzah stuff which is hot there because they're so bad. You put cold matzah in there, baked matzah. But even that only on occasion. Of their clears to do it on a regular basis, also it's forbidden. Unless you come to use it with hot. I feel that the truth is even used occasionally. It's best not to do. Sif Yud Aleph, as he wrote in Sif Yud Aleph, where you should see the psakim in the Mishnah Berurah.